Booyah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to OverDose Vapes. So, we are starting the show right now. So we got a couple people in chat already. Smoke 42 Vape. He's in there. We're starting it right now. My name's Travis. I am co-host of OverDose Vapes. Doing a live show. We do them every Sunday. Got a few people here, a few guests. And I guess we'll just start going down the line. Got Yeti's uncle here. Why don't you go ahead and tell him all about yourself there, Yeti?
Howdy. I'm Yeti's uncle. I am the, I'm me. I am the purveyor of YetiWire.com, the principal coil builder of Yeti Wire. And I have a small Instagram account as well. But generally, you can find me over at YetiWire.com or sniffing around Travis. That's it.
All right.
All I got.
That's all you got. That's all we need from you. If you guys don't know, YetiWire.com, the best place to pick up your artisanal, I guess would be the right word, coils, stuff like cat tracks and all your Clapton varieties, stuff like that, for a good price. So go ahead and check him out over there. Next, we got Skeletor. Why don't you go ahead and tell them all about yourself there, buddy?
Well, first I'll exhale so I don't sound like a fucking something or other and then choke on myself. The fuck is going on, squad? Skeletor here with WTF Network. Aside from, actually, listen to this shit. For the next 3 months, I can't broadcast live from WTFnetwork.info. I actually have to do it from here on Skeletor Vapes because they hit me and put me in timeout for broadcasting part of the Redskins game today.
I knew that was gonna fucking happen to you. You big dummy.
But I ended up starting another stream from here, and all I did was turn the volume down and block out the actual image with like the head of the helmets. And we finished up everything, and everything was copacetic. So it's like, okay, cool. Well, I know what we're gonna do for foosball fuckwits from now on. Actually, I've got Zach still here with me from Foosball Fuckwits. We're just hanging out, vaping on some good shit and hanging out. Appreciate you having me on there, Trav.
Cool, man. Thanks for coming. We always love it. We got Scott Preston in the chat. He is all the way from the UK. It's 3 a.m. where he's at.
Word.
I think he's in
dedicated.
Yeah, I think he's in Spain right now. This is like one of the first times that he's been able to make it on and see the stream. So I'm really glad that he's here. All right. So we got Paul Hessian. Why don't you go ahead and tell him all about yourself there, Paul?
Yeah, what's going on, guys? I'm Hesh. I'm the mastermind behind the ODV theme song. I am also the first admin of the Overdose Vapes Facebook page. Sponsored comp vapor, all around knock around guy, and anybody gets out of whack, banhammer status. What up?
You need an east wing.
Yeah, right. That's all I got, really.
No, totally. We're glad to have you on. If you guys don't know, we're going to announce it right now. Paul re-recorded the theme song, and so we actually have a whole new version of the theme song. Really excited about it. It sounds amazing. I'm going to make a whole new intro for the show, so really excited about it. Yeah, totally. We're really excited about it. He just gave it to me today, so I'm just got my hands on it.
I just recorded it today, actually, maybe about 10 minutes before I sent it to you.
So happy with it. It's amazing. You guys are going to love it. Everybody who loves the old song, it's the same. I mean, it's the same lyrics and everything. It's just new beat, new style. It sounds really, really amazing.
A little bit more, instead of that laid back kind of trippy effect, it's got a little bit more of a street hip hop feel. So
Totally. Yeah, no, it fits us really well. So I'm really happy about it. Paul's been around forever. I mean, he really, like he said, he's like the first admin from the Facebook group. He's been watching us forever. So
since 140 YouTube subscribers.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, we haven't come very far from there, but a little bit. So.
Hey, man, you're close to 2,500. So that's,
yeah, we're getting there.
We're
getting there. No, I mean, for what we do, I think that's pretty good actually for juice reviews. It's kind of hard to get a bunch of subscribers for some reason. People don't want to watch juice reviews, so.
It is.
All right.
Like 500.
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's really hard to get those subs, man. You got to beat the algorithm. You got to beat the YouTube algorithm, and I'm just now learning about that shit. You know what I mean? So,
Oh yeah,
we'll see. We'll see. All right, and we have another guest who this is his first time on the show. His name is Jack Vapes. You guys might know him. He has a YouTube channel. I'll let you tell them all about yourself there, Jack.
Oh, thanks for having me on, Travis. Yeah, I'm Jack Vapes. You guys can find me on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/Jack Vapes. You can also find me on all social media, which is at I am Jack Vapes. I have a website, www.iamjackvape.com. I do juice reviews, hardware reviews, advocacy videos. I'm pretty big in advocacy. Something I'm really strong about. And you can also find me messing around on Tommy Vapor Show and hanging out with a lot of the other shows, man. So
thanks so much for coming, man. No, we really appreciate it. And that's where I met Jack at, was on Tom's show. So, you know, if you guys don't know Tom, he's a great shit. He's a great guy too, so check him out. All right, I have everybody's links in the description of this video. I went ahead, I mean, it's just like your real long form links. I just copy and pasted out of the search bar when I looked for you guys. So everybody's shit is downstairs. So if you guys want to check them out, go ahead. And then finally, last but not least, by any means, we have Mr. Gizzard Stew.
Hello.
that was
great. He's the creeper.
Yeah, I'm Gizzard Stew. Thanks for inviting me tonight, Travis. I have a YouTube channel, which I sporadically put out content on.
And his latest video
hysterical content.
Amazing, dude. If you guys haven't seen the Spork Life, the video, what is it called? I think it's
called 45 Seconds of Your Life That You'll Never Get Back.
Hey, take 45 more because it's that good.
Right. All right, and you can also find me on the Instagrizzles. Now I under Gizzard Stew, and I have a Twitter account at What's Up Gizzard, and I am the inventor of OverDose Vapes bottle service.
True. It's true. It absolutely is. Yeah, give yourself a hand. Yeah, no, Giz definitely has helped us along the way, and just like Paul has honestly been there since we had like 50 subscribers. You know what I mean? Like, so these two guys are friends and family more than anything else. You know what I mean? Like, we are all part of the same community, like the YouTube kind of vape space. And so it's great, you know, we've really developed into a friendship and into like, you know, I honestly care a lot about these guys. So wouldn't be the same show without them. Got to have Giz on. Love having Hesh on, Yeti, all you guys, Skeletor, and Jack. It's really cool to have you on too, man.
Pleasure being on.
Yeti's telling people don't sub him. Don't sub my channel.
There's nothing there.
There's no content. Yeah. All right. So part of the show tonight is going to be like a Q&A. So if anybody in the chat has questions they want answered, you can totally leave them there. I have a few questions that people left in the group. I have a special monitor. I set up my second monitor to look at chat. So I actually am going to try to focus some of my attention on that. And then we're going to totally. And then we're also going to talk about ADVs. If people don't know, that's all day vapes. I'm talking about juices, mods, builds, you know what I mean? Like practical all day vapes. And I think a lot of times we talk about what our favorite things are, what the best things are, but maybe not the most practical things. And so when I think of all day vapes, I think of practicality. Like, you know what I mean? What are you taking out to work with you? Where are you, taking everywhere with you? So, all right. Yeah, everybody sub to Yeti. Absolutely. If you haven't already, go sub the channel. That way, we force him into making content on it.
That's right. Force that motherfucker. Put some builds on your channel.
Some build guides. Yeah, dude.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I gotta get a second camera, and I will.
Totally. No, absolutely, dude. I would watch that shit fucking all the time. Oh my god.
Every day.
Well,
every day.
As you can tell, I don't have a very good screen presence. So I'm thinking about doing it like, just like a POV, like from my point of view, that way you can like, not just camera down, but literally from the way you would see it, so you get like a literal point of view of how you would build it.
So how are you going to
Yeah,
put
but-
that on, or be able to handle that when you have that damn light all over?
He's gonna have to
all
replace the
time?
light with a GoPro.
Dude,
Yeah, I'm gonna get-
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You need to get one with a really bright flash so you can surgically implant that and replace your light.
GoPro
Yeah,
on your face.
I'll get a GoPro and then just have some scuba lights, mounted
There
on
you
the
go.
side of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've got it figured out.
Or you get
Excellent.
those glasses that that have the two lights on
The two LEDs on the side, yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
And that way you can have the GoPro surgically attached to your head. You just surgically attach your glasses. You're set, dude. We got you.
And I have to disagree, but for 1 second, you have tremendous screen presence, my friend.
Well, actually, I
Beard.
think it's more Yeti's beard has tremendous screen
Right.
presence. And then he's just like, hey, I'm behind the beard.
I think your beard needs its own agent and shit. Totally.
Same thing with Giz. They both, their beard has the screen presence and then they're just like in the background.
It's beard first. There's no doubt about it.
That's right. I'm only jealous because I can't grow like a Grizzly Adams like that.
Totally. Okay, so we have a question in chat. Let's get right to it. Scott Preston, I've actually talked to him about this a little bit. Is ceramic safe? If you want to go ahead and leave, what company put that out, Scott?
Well,
Yeah. Okay. So a company put this thing out. They had been making ceramic coils, and they basically put out a thing saying, "Hey, ceramic coils aren't safe. Here's a bunch of evidence. Here's a bunch of tests that we did, and here's like the particles that are coming off of ceramic." And so he wants to know if ceramic is safe. What are your guys' opinions? We'll go ahead and start with Yeti. What do you think?
Honestly, I don't have much experience with it, so
Okay.
I'm not a good person to talk about it. I really couldn't tell you.
Okay. And
I'm not gonna lie.
I think that's the majority. Honestly, I think that there's a few people who have delved into ceramic, and I think that that's really the minority. And I think that ceramic does a great vape, but I think that what they're using those sub-ohm coils is not the good ceramic. Like the ceramic I'm thinking of that I would use is like those vaping donuts. I don't know if you guys ever saw those.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Those things are, those things are actually just pieces of ceramic that you can heat up. I think that's a good idea. The ones that are using these sub-ohm coils are basically like sheets
Yeah.
of that ceramic shit, and they just
Right,
wrap
the ceramic wicking material wrapped around the canthal.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
those are the ones that you should be a little weary about. The ultimate ones that I've seen come with the Target kits, the Target C cells. It's a ceramic plate with a heating element built inside, basically, and
Like
those are
melted into
ultimately
it.
those. Right, exactly, and those are ultimately the better ceramic materials because you're heating the wire that's inside the ceramic. A hard ceramic surface as opposed to the ceramic thin sheets that can break apart over time.
Yeah, I think, but even that, I think sometimes is a little sketchy for me. Just because I don't, like those are all being made overseas,
Right.
and I just don't know how stringent their policies are for testing that shit. You know what I
Not
mean?
much.
Not much.
Well, that kind of brings me to something. Obviously, I rarely ever use pre-made coils. I never use a tank. If I do use a tank, 9 times out of 10, it's an RTA and it's got one of my coils in it. Typically, I don't use the sub-ohm tank coils. I don't like them. My last experience was a horrible experience, and I think that kind of has something to do. I've had some bigger people tell me, like some bigger reviewers tell me that like people like Smock and the big companies, they take a lot of pride in the quality of their stuff, which I get. I understand that. However, it's still made in China.
Yeah.
They might be proud of what they make, but they're making their stuff with subpar materials sometimes.
Absolutely.
And
Sorry.
that I think led to my last experience, which was a smoke product or smoke, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that might lead into the ceramics as well, because if you're dealing with ceramics, I think you've got a little bit more. You're putting more in it. You got one more thing to mess with. You know what I mean? I mean, because, you know, instead of just cotton and wire, now you got cotton, wire, and the ceramic.
And see, that's what I always thought, was that the ceramic would be the heating element, like it is in the vaping donut. But now it's not, though. It's like this hybrid of heating element / wick, and I think those are the ones that you have to be careful of. And there's a guy in the chat, Nate38. He says he has the 1.8 ohm coils for the Honor tank, and flavor is good, but he doesn't know if they're safe. And that seems to be, the flavor is great in those ceramic coils. I mean, I've used them, and I found them to be pretty satisfactory. But I heard that a long time ago, that they weren't safe. So I wouldn't use them personally. That's just my opinion. I wouldn't use them. I'm with Yeti. I don't like using pre-made coils at all, because I'm not the one who built them. I don't know what kind of wire they have. I don't know what kind of wicking they have. So I don't personally use a lot of pre-made coils. That's just me.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah, go ahead. Absolutely.
So we had this discussion because I know there was a lot of rumors in the Twitter sphere out there that DJ or Daniel DJ LSB Vapes was hospitalized because of ceramic coils, which I had the opportunity to speak to him about that, and that wasn't true. And we got into talking about this subject, and he said that there are two different types of ceramic coils that are being made right now that he sees, and one of them is this ceramic coil that's just ceramic and Kenthal, and then there's the one which is more of the C-cell type from Vaporeso or Vaporeso, whatever you want to pronounce it, that has the Kenthal that's embedded into the ceramic and that is surrounded by it's hard ceramic surrounded by cotton. And it helps filter out any type of like those particle issues. And he says that he believes firmly that those are relatively safe compared to the ones that do not. You know, I have a bunch of ceramic devices up here. I have a coil right here, so as you can see, the C-cell coils, like you can see, it's that hard ceramic that is in there.
Yeah.
So those are the only ones that I would say is worth like maybe vaping out every once in a while, and keep your wattages low. Keep them around like 30 to 35 watts. You're gonna get a good clean vape. It's going to taste great, but you're not really pushing it, because anything over, I'd say 35, 40 watts, you're kind of pushing it.
And I think that's where the 1.8 ohm coils, I think if you're going to rock ceramic, it should be something like that, not super sub-ohm. Just why risk it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I've noticed that when you have the coils that are the Kenthal heating element with the ceramic wicking, ceramic is not like porcelain. Porcelain, whereas even though it is porous, it's a little less porous than ceramic, and it also is heat tempered a little better. When you have your basic ceramic coil with that Kenthal wire, that Kenthal wire burns at such a rate that it starts to break down the ceramic and build up carbon. When you have, like you had mentioned, the donut style, Travis, when you take your heating element and you're using the element to where the ceramic is heating up itself, and it's actually the ceramic only that's heating up, and that's the only portion of it that's really heating up, that is a little safer. But if you were in Washington, and if you were in Colorado, they have this device, and this device has 3 separate nails that you can get, which are basically like coils that temper and preheat. They learned with that technology about ceramic, and they replaced the ceramic with porcelain. If we were to be able to do that with the porcelain, I think they would be a little bit safer. But I also know that the wicking would be a little more difficult.
Yeah. I you know, the thing is that I find it scary. All wicks I find scary. I find cotton scary. I think just, you know, but at least I know cotton. You know what I mean? That's like the devil I know, and ceramic is the devil I don't know. Exactly. And so it's just like, why add that into it? I'm curious to see what Giz has to say. He's been really quiet about this. I'm totally curious to see what you have to say about this.
I do have an opinion.
Okay.
And my opinion is that ceramic is probably safer than asbestos. But that I probably would not vape ceramic, and I have not vaped ceramic, and I will not vape ceramic. But I would like to move the discussion onto wire, which Yeti touched on, because I am on the same train of thought with him, that I no longer use sub-ohm tanks because they have coils that are pre-made.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that you get a coil that has not been pre-burned. So
Yes.
it's got oxides and stuff that need to come off of it. And that's why a lot of times you have to break in those sub-ohm coils. It takes, anywhere from a few hours to a few days to break in those coils because they're just wrapping raw wire around the cotton.
Yeah.
Or cotton around the wire, whatever the case may be. And my opinion also is that I want to know where my wire's coming from to an extent. When I get an RDA and it comes with pre-made coils,
Yank them out.
they usually come in a bag, but I don't install those. I throw them out. And, when I go on a website and they're selling pre-made coils from China, I don't buy them.
Yeah.
Because I want my stainless and my nichrome, I want it sourced from reputable sources, either
Absolutely.
in the United States or in the United Kingdom.
And this isn't like a xenophobic thing. This is like a standards thing. Like in the United States, we have a higher standard for these products that are being made. That's just bottom line. You know what I mean? So I don't want people to get the wrong impression here. We're not slagging off China exclusively. It's just that China manufactures 99% of these products. That's that's the only thing I have to add about it. But I totally agree. They never tell you what kind of wire that they're using. I mean, at least I've never seen like a sub-ohm coil that says this is Canthal or this is nichrome 80. You know what I mean? They never tell you. And so and just like, what if they're wrapping them with their bare hands? What if somebody's touched that wire and their oils from their fingers are on it? Like, I don't even like to fucking
get your dick beaters off my coils.
Yes.
That's right.
After they just got through scratching their ass.
Right.
I dry fire my own coils. So
Yeah.
like I want to be able to dry fire any coil. And Giz is right. If they give it to you and the wick's already in there, you have zero opportunity to make sure that coil has
Right,
been
and you could
fucking-
have hot spots. We all know about hot spots, and how are you going to work those out of there except to inhale
except
them?
to work it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had three or four bad cases of flashbacks in sub-ohm tanks because of hot spots.
Totally. And here's the thing. I think that for somebody who's just starting, this isn't going to be an issue for you. And I think that that's like one of the questions that I have. So we'll get into that. But I really don't think it's an issue. You know what I mean? I think that it's so much better than smoking no matter what. And so if sub-ohm coils is like what you're going to start with and what you're going to be comfortable with, by all means, go for it. And don't let us stop you. This is just our personal opinions. And we're all guys here who build our own coils.
Yeah.
Well,
That's not going to be for everybody, but for us it is.
And
and I
also,
found. Oh, go ahead, Yeti.
no, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I found that I am now as well leaning more towards the sub-ohm tank that has an RTA base built in, or it has an available RBA. And I've also, like, for instance, I just picked up this Mod Father, and this Mod Father, it's got a great build deck. You build your own coils. I tell you what, I'll even throw the Eagle in. That I like the Eagle, and the reason why is because you can rip the coil, the cotton out of there. You can dry fire that fucking coil. You can re-wick with your own cotton. Hell, you can take the pre-built decks for the Eagle and rebuild your own coil if you want to. But Giz was talking earlier about the little coils that come in the baggie. I just straighten them out, twist them together, about 3 or 4 of them, and make little pokers out of them.
Use them for something at least, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I make use.
Waste
Yeah,
not, want not.
That's what I was gonna say is that I'm on the same lines with everybody else. I like to know what I'm vaping, what I'm ingesting. I mean, first you got the issue with the wire. Everything Giz said is bang on.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you want to, the cotton.
Oh God,
You don't know what that cotton is. You don't know
Exactly.
I know you can look at it and 99 times you can tell that it's just straight up 100% cotton. However, you don't know how it was processed. You don't know where it came from. I mean, you're talking about fucking China. People. I mean, come on.
Well, How was it? Yeah, where was it stored? Was it just stored on the floor in the warehouse? You know what I mean? Was it like in a bundle? Where was it? You know, that's what I want to know.
Hermetically sealed before you did the manufacturing.
Absolutely
it
not.
Treated with bleach. I mean, that's just so many things.
Well, and you know what? You can look at the kind that comes with like your RDAs if they have like the installed coils or whatever. But for sub-ohm tanks, you really can't unless you tear a whole coil apart and then look at the wicking. So,
which I've been known to do that.
I would say the only tank that actually use a pre-made coil is the TFV8.
Yes, and that's what I was going to say earlier, that I was going to disagree with. I can't remember who said it now, but they said that there's no companies that have the pre-made coils that give you the quote-unquote makeup of the coil. Smock does.
Okay. Right. And from what I've heard, going back again with DJ LSB Vapes, he mentioned that he's had plenty of contact with them. He knows their facility and that they're a very clean facility and that they do things correctly over there. We all know that their devices are pretty much, for the most part, quality devices. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I know Yeti could contest to this. The buildable deck that came with this, not the greatest deck. We had tons of problems with it reading incorrectly and having other issues with it. I've had that issue with it, but I mean, this octuple coil on it, that's the only thing that I use.
Yeah.
And that's about
I've got
it.
a quad in mine right now, and I tell you what, I'm still impressed with that. I hear the six bangers of fucking beast too.
Yeah, those ones aren't bad. I just the quad I felt was way too airy. With how open it was just way too airy. Even when I tried to close it down a little bit, it still felt a little bit too airy. I mean, just as octuple, like I went out and bought more coils, just because of that. Other than that, I mean, obviously my own builds. Well, Yeti wires builds because those things are fantastic.
Absolutely. I want to answer. So we're going to move on from this question, and we're going to get on to the next question. Somebody asked it in chat like a long time ago, so we're going to get to it now. Stealth vapes. And I have one answer for that question, and it is the Ego 1. Not the Ego all-in-one. It's just called the Ego 1. It's a sub-ohm tank, and it's, obviously, like everything we just said about sub-ohm coils applies. But I found it, I actually have used that thing quite a bit. It's like about this big. I mean, it's like a pin. It looks like a pin. It's smaller than the old Ego Twist, but it does 4.2 volts, and it has a 0.5 coil. That thing chucks clouds. For how small it is, it's amazing. I mean, you could put it in your coin pocket. It's fucking tiny. So if anybody wants to see that, we have a review of that on the channel, so you can check that shit out.
You're going
hey, Trav, real quick, jiggle your headphone cable.
I'm just going to go off, and I'll come back on.
All right, word. Yeah, but hell, I've had a couple. Well, it's kind of hard for me because my hands are absolutely so fucking huge. Everything's a stealth vape for me. I'll give you, for instance, here's an RX 200S with the Modfather 30 mil tank on it. I can almost make this look like a fucking stealth vape.
Yeah, that's because you're a monster, though.
Yeah, exactly. But I tell you, when it comes to what I use nowadays for my stealth vape, I usually have my eFusion DNA 200 because I can make it fucking disappear. And it really doesn't matter what tank I have on it, because if I go like this and bring it around to where my thumb is, kind of right here, and I can hit the fucking button with the ball of my thumb, you're not telling, no matter what I'm vaping on.
Yeah, but I think what they're trying to go for here is something that's like low profile, like really low profile.
Right. Low profile and less clouds. Right. Just because you can hide your mod in your hand does not make it a stealth vape.
The ones I would
for the first time.
The ones I would definitely recommend. Everybody knows about the Juul, the PAX Juul.
Yeah.
I refill my Juul all the time with local bought juice, as long as it's like 24 milligram or 18 milligram, and it works fine. Next to no cloud production, and it's a 50-50 juice, but that keeps me going during the workday, where I'm not sitting around going like, all right, so I'm going to bring this box mod and I'm going to bring my stack tube with me and I'm going to drip and drive. But I've also had the chance to fuck around with the iCare, and that little thing has amazing flavor, fully refillable, and you got great cloud production. If you want to go for a good pull, but then you can also stealth vape the fuck out of it and, just hold it in a little bit and you've got no cloud coming out at all.
And on top of that, you take off the mouthpiece, you can adjust your airflow. I mean, come on, that's great.
And
that thing's
what are the
dope as
other
hell.
ones? There's the Juul, and there's a few of them.
There's
the
My
Sync.
Jet, the Sync.
My Jet. What's the one that you can get unicorn milk, all the cutwood stuff? They have pods for it.
There is, shit. I think like the Sync itself, there's a few companies that make pods for the Sync. The ones that I've been picking up, or the ones actually that I've been lucky enough to try out for Vapor & Co., have been the Space Jam juices. My wife has the Sync, and she's got APOC, which is their Turkish blend menthol, in an 18, and she takes it to work with her. And I guess she does pretty well with it. I have it right.
Well, I got the name of the other one too. It's called the Von Earl.
Von Earl, that's
Von
right.
Earl, yeah.
That's probably the one that I would recommend because they have the pods they have are actual companies, and it's made by a really great company. So
yeah, and that's what Sync was getting into as well. Space Jam was doing one for Von Earl and one for Sync. So was Cutwood for a little bit. I don't know if they still are for the Sync. I know they are for Von Earl. I think even I almost went, and don't quote me on this, but I want to say I've heard through the grapevine that Pip might be doing something for those as well.
I could believe it. She's always on the newest shit.
I'd like to weigh in.
Yes.
Okay. We're talking about stealthy devices here.
Yeah.
But for a minute, I would like to switch it up and talk about stealth vaping, because I have an opinion on that. And, there's places where you just shouldn't vape. You shouldn't be vaping in the movie theater. You shouldn't be vaping on an airplane. Shouldn't be vaping in the grocery store. I don't care how small your clouds are. You're running the risk of giving vaping a bad name.
Yes.
So, any place that you wouldn't normally smoke, just don't, wait.
Yeah.
If you need to go blow a cloud, go outside and blow a cloud. So I think a lot of times when I think of stealth vaping, I think of a negative connotation to that, because a lot of people will, just stealth vaping brings up pictures of people vaping in situations and in places where they ought not to be doing it.
Yeah, like at the restaurant or some shit.
Yeah.
I was walking through the mall.
A little bit of insight on the gentleman who did ask the question. It's actually one of my teammates from Voodoo Vapes and Barn Brew. He's active military, so he cannot actually physically bring a large mod on base to be able to sit there and chuck clouds all fucking day long. So he's looking for something small, that he can take a couple whacks at and not draw attention to himself on base.
Right.
Because they're allowed to smoke on base, but he doesn't want to sit there and, the kid runs, Para Series boxes, and can chuck a fucking 15-foot cloud, no problem. But he doesn't want to have to carry, like 17 batteries on him while in full BDUs and, doing his job.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where things like this, like the Von Earl and like the Juul, I think those things really shine in those situations because it's a high nicotine. So you're getting your nicotine fix and shit, and you don't have to sit around and fucking be chucking clouds and shit. And I think if you want to have some clouds, there's things like what Yeti was just showing. If you want to show it again, Yeti.
That's the Pico, Elite
Yeah,
Pico.
Totally great little device. And then they have like the Mini Volt, right? Is that what it's called? The Mini Volt?
Yep, the Mini Volt.
Those things are tight, and they're like 50 watts.
Yeah, 45 watts.
I like
the
those
Nugget.
things. The Nugget is
power.
dope too.
The Nugget's
Yes.
smaller than this. It's,
Yeah.
Totally.
It's like that.
That's what I was thinking.
I would also
Actually-
suggest the iPower from eLeaf, because you do get an 80-watt device, but it is a 5,000 watt internal LiPo. So you're going to get a good battery life off of it. And the best thing for your friend who's in the military is that's $30. So if you break this goddamn thing because you get into some shit, whatever, you know what I mean?
Right.
You're not breaking your budget. This is what I work in law enforcement. This is what I carry at work.
I think that MAW is really important. I think even like if you're thinking stealth vapes, but I think mostly you're thinking more for him. It's like I need something that's going to last all day, and I need something that is going to be inconspicuous. So.
Right.
Steve actually said he only asked because he doesn't want to burn up juice.
Wow. Totally. Yeah.
This is my wife's mod. This is her daily driver, and she's got the Nautilus X on top. It's got an 18650 battery in it. The last time I put one of these in here, a fully charged 18650, was 2 Mondays. Tomorrow will be 2 Mondays ago. Will be 2 weeks, and it is just one notch below a full the full shit. The full battery. I mean, you won't be able to see.
Yeah.
This thing, the first time I put a battery in, I've only changed the battery in this twice, and she's had this thing for 3 months.
What's the coil? What's the coil resistance?
I think this is like a 1. This is a 1.6.
Well, that's good.
Well, that's why.
Yeah.
Totally.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, she vapes for weeks and weeks on a single battery.
But depending on what build you put on top of it is gonna drastically affect your battery life. Is what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that everybody that is curious about that got some really good suggestions there. I think that there are tons of small devices that you can throw any tank on, and I think there's a wealth of really good devices like the Joule and the Von Earl. I had a question, specifically, somebody asked me, sometimes you'll hear me in reviews talk about true nicotine measurements, meaning that a juice is really 3 milligram nicotine, or a juice is really 6 milligram nicotine. And they wanted to know what I was talking about, and if companies actually lie about that and don't put the accurate nicotine measurements. And the answer is totally yes. The companies do lie. I have a good friend who's a juice maker. She's a really popular juice maker. Tons of people know her. I don't want to call her out here, but she told me that she's worked with companies that do nicotine to taste. Now, if you don't know what I mean, like they put in a nicotine until they go, well, that feels like a 3 milligram, or that feels like a 6 milligram. And it's really common, apparently. Like she told me it's really common. And so I've vaped tons of different juices. I've even gotten like 6 or 7 juices out that are all 3 and gone through each one, and you can see the difference in some of them. Some of them are obviously 3. A 3 should be smooth, but have a little bit of nicotine hit to it. You know what I mean? And I think that that shit is so nefarious. And when I hear stories like that, it makes me want regulation in some way. You know what I mean? We need somebody holding these people accountable.
Can I tell you why they do that?
Go for it.
The reason why they do that is because nicotine is the most costly ingredient.
Totally.
So if they can use half the nicotine and get away with it, they're making more money.
Yep.
There's only a handful of companies that I actually trust, as far as, nicotine content. Door would be one for sure.
Yeah.
And Vape Dudes, I've been working with them a long time. I definitely trust theirs. They're pretty honest. But just like a handful for sure.
Myself.
Yeah.
Because
I know what I'm putting in.
I know. Yeah. See, here's an example. This is a 3 milligram liquid, and I know this is a 3 milligram. That's a 0.
Yeah. Totally.
And it's the same exact liquid. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell the darkness of your liquids.
Because the nicotine will oxidize, and that's what gives it that caramely color.
Every juice, even juice, there are some flavorings that have colors, but every juice should have a little bit of an amber color from the nicotine. If it has enough nicotine to oxidize, as it steeps, it should be going a little darker.
Good point. This is Green Blast from Naked 100. You can see this is a 3 nic, so it does have this amber color. My wife, due to personal health reasons, like I guess birth control, you can't have nicotine, so more prominent for blood clots. She has the same juice in a 0 nic, and hers is clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a good point.
I trust everything that those guys put out. Those are the same guys who make the Schwartz, do the Naked 100, and those guys are fucking class acts.
Oh, all day vape, dude. I'll vape that Green Blast all day. That's fantastic flavor.
It's a good
Charlie
got a-
Noble.
Charlie Noble. I
Charlie
trust those
Noble,
guys.
Definitely. Vape Girl, 100%. Trav, you know for a fact
Totally.
Colleen would never back down on her word.
No.
Barn Brew Voodoo Vapes, I definitely trust them because that's my ADV right there. These two companies are the ones that I will always go to no matter what, and
I
not
think
just because I'm affiliated with them.
no, I get that, and I think that there's a mix of like there's some really big companies that do it, that get away with it, and I think there's like a ton of smaller companies that just do it like Giz said to save money.
Well, I think for the most part, any company that any one of us, more smaller reviewers actually endorse, are going to be ones to trust because we typically only endorse companies and products that we are fans of and that we approve of. It's not just saying, oh, well, this company's going to send me some juice, so go try it out. It's literally like, because we're more on the side of like the consumer. We really want to give back to you guys and let you guys know the true opinions. So, I mean, if I endorse a company, you're damn right that it's going to be a good company.
Yeah, I
I have one more comment here.
Yeah.
It's why we're on the topic of nicotine. God damn it, that's the only way I can get a word in. While we're on the topic of nicotine, not only like diluting how much nicotine you're putting in, but using cheap ass nicotine will not only ruin your juice, but it will ruin your vape experience. So you might want to touch on nicotine quality that's going into your liquids as well.
There's a ton of different nicotines available. Give yourself a fucking hand. There's a ton of different nicotines available. We have some that are derived not from tobacco. We have some that are derived from tobacco. We have like some that are made very cheaply. We have some that are made to be high end. You know what I mean? It's all out there. We have there's like a ton of companies that have their own proprietary nicotine. Right at the top of my head, One Hit Wonder with their True Nic stuff. That's the only company I know of that uses True Nic. And then we also have companies like SUA. They're using I forget what the fuck it's called. It's TFN, tobacco-free nicotine.
Tobacco-free.
That's lab-made nicotine. We had heard at first that they were deriving it from eggplants and shit, because you can eggplants, potatoes, lots of other vegetables actually have nicotine in them, and you can derive nicotine from those. I mean, it would take a ton, but you could theoretically. But tobacco-free nicotine is not derived from eggplants, as far as I know. So.
Yeah, synthetic nicotine, I would be questioning that.
Yeah, definitely.
Just because if they're making synthetic nicotine, it's probably made in a pharmaceutical lab.
Yeah.
And I trust the pharmaceutical people about as far as I can throw them.
Yeah. Yeah, and the only benefit to that is that you can honestly say this is not a tobacco product. There's no tobacco involved in it. But, I mean, is it a good trade-off to have something made out of the lab? Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. Okay, so off the nicotine, we're going to get on to the next topic. I think we've covered a lot of this stuff. We have one question that somebody asked: best mech clones, and I want to expand that. I want to expand that to mech clones you should stay away from.
Damn right.
Yeti?
Yeah, Yeti.
Between me and Yeti, this is going to take a little while.
I can tell you an authentic to definitely stay the fuck away from.
Go for it.
It's called the Wismec Skylodon.
Yeah.
Stay the fuck away from that thing. I got suckered into it because it looked like an awesome. It was pretty. It's a gorgeous looking mod. And it's got the the deal where it's hybrid or 510, so it covers everybody's bases. That thing is a piece of shit. So don't ever buy the Skylodon. And the Nemesis clone. Be very, very, very careful.
Hot button central.
Any Nemesis clone, and it doesn't even matter who makes it. The Nemesis is a flawed design.
Yeah. If it's a painted Nemesis, do not buy it because it will zap your hand. Not just the button. Not just the button at the joints will buzz your hand.
I am going to say there is one clone that I would recommend buying. I have one. And when this one fucking shits out on me, I'm gonna buy another one. And it's not, it's a clone, sort of. It's the Fu Hatton. And Street Justice wanted to know, what do I buy if I can't buy these things? I recommend the Fu Hatton. I think it's a magnet button mod, which is totally awesome. You're not going to get hot button issues. It's a great learner mod. It's a great beater mod. I think the Fu Hattons are the one to go for. I mean, absolutely.
It's not hybrid. It's got a floating 510 pin with an adjustable with an adjustable Delrin insulator up at the floating 510 pin, so you don't have to worry about hybrid connectivity. You're always going to have a little bit of gapping depending on your RDA on those. They're a fantastic mod. That's the first actual mech that I started off with, was a Fu Hatton version 1 from AmeriClone, because I knew that I couldn't afford an AmeriVape Manhattan at the time.
Yep.
Fu Hatton now, AmeriClone is no longer around, so any of the Fu Hatton V2s and stuff like that, the ones that actually say "fuck you" on the bottom with the middle finger logo, that's actually made still by the machine shop that made the original AmeriClones, but it's basically a repro of the original Fu Hatton.
So it's a clone of a clone.
It's a clone of a clone, basically.
Totally.
Yeah. But they're still using the same quality copper and brass that they did in the original Fu Hatton.
And that's what I would say. I'd say the Fu Hatton, you got to make sure that you don't have a spring in the button. They should say that wherever you're buying it from. There are 2 versions. There's one with a spring. Don't buy it. It's garbage. Make sure that it's like copper or brass. Those are 2 things you can get. Make sure you get those 2 things. It's going to be a great mod, and you can get it for super cheap. I mean, if you're an eBay person, you can get them for fucking under $20. So
$12. $12 on eBay.
I want Giz to say this to the whole thing here. I'll get back to you in a second, Yeti. Just let him have it, Giz.
Able clones are good. There, I said it.
Well,
they are.
I tell you, the crew that I've been doing some broadcasts with down in New Zealand, every single one of them has both not every single one of them. I know they all have the clone, and a couple of them have the authentic as well, and they say they're hand in hand. Build quality is just a little bit chintzier.
Yeti's gonna shit his pants, so we gotta let him talk.
Both me and Yeti are gonna fucking flip out right here.
All right, come on, Yeti. Let us have it.
Okay, on the clones, the copper and brass are great. They are good. I can't say shit about that. I think it's the aluminum one. It's junk. It's a real super shiny. It might be stainless. I think it's stainless steel actually.
It's
not, like really highly polished.
It's not stainless. It is aluminum, but it's a low grade aluminum with a clear coat on it.
Okay, well I've got one and it hot buttons the shit out of me. I mean instantly. It's like instant hot button, and it gives me it zaps my finger like the Manhattan does. So I put that thing away. I'm done with it. And I got to admit, the clones, the Able clones are the brass and copper. It's the only ones I can speak of. Are fucking phenomenal. They are good.
Did we lose Giz?
Yeah, we did.
I think so.
I'm good we got in that conversation with, I'm new to mechs. I've actually never purchased a mech device. I've always been, more regulated devices because my channel's more geared towards, the new consumers and stuff like that. So I know I've been discussing this with Yeti. We're trying to find, a good cheap clone that's going to be, great quality when you start off with. So I'm glad we got on that topic. So
Fu Hatton, definitely good.
That's what I'm probably going to pick up.
If you can find a Rig V1, I know there was some talk on the chat. I didn't see what was going on.
V1 clone,
but the copper Rig V1, is a pretty decent clone. The one I have, I've got one clone and 2 authentics, and I can't tell them apart. They vape immaculate.
The Rig V1s have a definite good build quality on the clones. The Rig V2 clones, anything that's the painted skulls, anything that you can tell is not 100% a 1-to-1 on any of the rig series is a definite stay away. The constructions of the buttons on the Rig V2 clones is nowhere near parallel to the updated button that comes on the original version of it. And again, it comes down to spring to magnet in the clones. It comes down to quality of the machining on the threads and everything like that as well. You know, if you got janky threads and you're screwing together a mod and it partially cross threads and you feel that you have a good connection, that thing's ultimately going to vent a battery at some point.
Yeah, totally. I think that's the danger of clones is machining most of the time, machining and quality of the materials. I mean, obviously that's how they save money. So that, you know, if you can pick up an authentic, there's tons of authentics, you know, available now for affordable prices. But if you're going to get a clone, I mean, make sure that it's a high quality clone. I mean, that's
now to touch on it real quick. Companies like Watofo that make authentic mods, but also you know, started off as clone companies. You know, I would put a Watofo simple up against an original simple any day as well. You know, the only issue that I ever had with any of my Watofo simples are ultimately that hybrid connection at the 510. After a while, depending on the length of your 510 on your RDA, sometimes it will strip out because you're cranking it, you're getting it all the way down, and your button is your battery rattle adjustment. But you're ultimately pushing the threads all the way through to the base part that doesn't have any threading left, and you've only got maybe about a half a thread, you know. So it's really make sure that you're buying a quality clone if you're going to buy a quality clone. Companies like Kinderbright that you see on Alibaba and all that stuff, that make all like the AV clones and all that stuff. Kinderbright is a company that I would trust when it comes to a clone. Any of the other cloner companies that sell the fast tech and you can buy an AV Able for $10, don't bother. You want, if you're buying an AV Able clone, you want to be able to spend at least $40 to $60 on it. And if you're going to do that, ultimately, just to say that you have an Able style mod, that's absolutely fine. More power to you. I will never bash you for buying a clone because I've been there. But it all boils down to the machining quality, the quality of materials, and the longevity of the life of the mod.
Yep,
totally.
Absolutely.
Indeed, I actually have a Watofo simple clone right here, and I had the same exact issue with the thread stripping. But other than that, this was my very first clone mech mod that I owned, and I tell you,
I had the same problem. I had the same problem. The threading on the fucking 510 just shit out.
Anytime that I put an RDA on there, it
I
just
still
goes
have
around
it.
now.
It's hard to throw away vape stuff.
Oh yeah,
it's broken. I have a whole drawer full of broken shit.
I would like to ask a question of the rest of the panel, because I know I've discussed this with Yeti and he's never had any experience with them. But I've heard through other channels and stuff like that Tobacco makes great cologne.
Tobacco does.
They make good stuff.
So I know that Yeti said he's never had any experience with them, so I wanted to go ahead and grab your guys' opinion on that, because I did see
Tobacco makes
in the chat as well.
As a matter of fact, the Velocity clone, the best Velocity clone on the market, was made by Tobacco.
I
have a Velocity Tobacco clone.
I have a Velocity Tobacco clone.
I want to weigh in real quick, and this gets brought up a lot. I like to answer this any chance I get. Street Justice just asked, are hybrids safe?
Yes.
The answer to that is yes. 100% hybrids are safe.
If used safely.
Yeah. Exactly. You need to know what you're messing with.
Yep.
Do not
100%.
Yep. Don't ever put a sub tank on a mech, on a hybrid. I'm sorry. And make sure your pin, your 510 pin, extends below the thread housing.
Absolutely.
What we touched base on last week.
Exactly.
Ceramic tweezers, right?
Yep.
If you put your bottom of your RDA threading right on the edge right here, as long as your 510 pin protrudes as much as this piece right here, if not a little bit longer, it is hybrid safe. Just make sure that your insulator around that pin is fully intact and that pin doesn't float around or move. Make sure that center pin is tight as hell in there. Then you should have no issues. Just build accordingly and make sure that your battery wraps are 100% perfect, because hybrids are the
device. The device is going to touch the battery, so you want to make sure the battery's in good shape, and you want to make sure that that pin is protruding. 100%. They are safe, and it's actually a better vape because you have less voltage drop off. So
exactly.
I wanted to touch back on tobacco for a second. They actually not only do they make quality clones, and I think they do. Not all of their stuff in the past was super great, but they do. I've bought tons of shit from tobacco, but they also have a ton of authentic products now that are about the same quality. You know what I mean? They're making them in the same factories. I'm using one tonight, and it's called the Symbiote. We have a review of it on the channel. It's got this crazy-ass postless deck, and I have triple fused Claptons in here. It's a little dirty, but I mean, it's fucking badass, dude. So it's the Symbiote.
Symbiote?
S-Y-M-B-I-O-T-E. And it's got 6 little, like, half posts. You know, it's like postless, but it has 6 holes. And so you can stick all these different variations of fucking coils in it. And so I've been rocking it. I love it. It's got a drip guard in it. It's a great little device. And it's like $15. I mean, that's the thing about the tobacco, is that all their shit is so cheap.
I have to touch on that. The only other sub tank that I do, or tank that I use with a pre-made coil, is from tobacco, and that is the
Super Tank.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic. I mean,
it's a great device.
Yeah, it looks pretty matchy on this Snow Wolf.
And you can get them not gold too. We have a gold one that they sent out, but you can get them without gold as well too. And they actually have a Super Tank RTA, which I use like pretty much every day. It's like my go-to tank. They're kind of, the glass is a little chintzy. I've broken 2 of them already so far. But that's really great. And they also make the Stargate, which is, I would highly recommend if you are a dripper and you want a tank to take with you. I say grab the Stargate because it's a fucking smashing device. It has the vertical goon deck. It's like a goon clamps, except they're vertical, and they have 1 screw on each side. So you only have to screw 2 screws to fucking put your build in. It's awesome.
Yep.
Okay, so before we run out of time, we lost Giz. I sent him a message. He tried to rejoin. I don't know if he's having problems. So I think we're just going to have to carry on without him, as unfortunate as that is. I love Giz, and it's not the same without him. But we got to finish the show, and we did have a topic, Q&A. Obviously, Q&A, we did that. All day vapes. I lost my brain for a second, but now I'm finding it. All day vapes, and I want everybody to go through and thinking practicality. And I want juice, I want build, and I want device. All right. Like if you had to pick one thing, out of all your shit, you had to pick one juice, and not just your favorite, but like what you think has the most legs, what you think is practical, and all that kind of shit. So we're gonna start. Hey Giz, we missed you.
Hey.
I missed you, fella. So let's start with Giz.
Start signing off.
No. No, you wish. No, we're talking about all day vapes. One juice, one device, one build.
Well, first of all, my computer shit the bed, so now
I saw that.
So all day vapes. What I want to say about this is the term all day vape has started really just to piss me off.
Okay.
Because I think that it's a term that is overused. Because I think that, an all-day vape is you fill your tank up with juice, and then you have to vape that all day. That's what I think.
But there are tons of people who only have one device or only can afford one juice. And so I think that there's a lot of people, we're hobbyists, obviously, and so I have like 20 devices at all times with different juices and different builds. That's just who I am.
I wasn't finished.
Okay. My bad.
You got dinged, man.
So what I was getting at is I want to change it from all day vape to everyday vape.
Okay.
Because I have a juice that I vape every day. So it's like everyday carry.
Yeah, that's how I actually term it as my
Everyday
EDC.
vape. Because an all-day vape is just, the term is too overused for my book. So my everyday vape is Hazy Custard by Authority Liquid. There it is. There it is. So, okay, go ahead.
Okay, I agree with you in that it's overused term, but when I think of all day vapes, I'm thinking of somebody who's asking me that question all the time: is what is a juice I can get, and I'm not going to get tired of it. I don't have a lot of money, so what's a device that's going to work for everything I need it for, like for tanks and for drippers and all this kind of shit. You know what I mean? And so when I'm thinking of all day vapes, I'm thinking of like practicality, people who aren't into it as much as I am. For me, an all-day vape is everything in my house. I use all this shit all the time.
Yeah.
And I always have, every dripper's got shit in it, and so not shit, but juice.
Well,
And so when I'm thinking of all-day vapes, that's what I think of. And I'm a simple man, and so I like strawberry cream liquids. You know what I mean? I'm pretty picky about which ones I like, but like shit like Siren Song, things like that, Sweet Lucy, which is not made anymore. Those are things that I can vape no matter what, all day, from the morning until the night. There's some juices that I only like in the mornings. There's some juices I only like at night. There's some juices I like with my coffee, but this is strawberry creams or something I can vape every fucking minute of every day. I'll never get sick of it.
That's what I mean, every day vape.
Everyday vape. I'm totally there with you. And so I thinking of practicality, I'm thinking if somebody was like, I can only buy one mod, what should I buy? I'd probably recommend like a tube, maybe a 2 battery box, or well, for you, Yeti, I would recommend the Able. But for like a normal person, probably the RX200, something like that, or something that has a built-in battery like a LiPo, I think is a really great idea, with like a 1 amp charger on it. Because then you can use a tank, and you can rock it up to 200 and use a dripper, and it goes everywhere. And I think you need to find a flavor that works for you, that you can work, that you think. Don't just think either, because that's the thing. When I first started vaping, the things I thought I was gonna like, I ended up not liking at all. And you have to kind of just try out different vapes, and you're gonna find one that you like, and then zero in on the good versions of that, because there's a million literally. Strawberry cream vapes, but there's only like 3 or 4 that I would vape all the time. And so
then somebody can take your recommendations and feel comfortable going to purchase something like that, and then see if it's for them.
Yes, absolutely. No, and then for a build, I think that a good practical everyday vape is a Fuse Clapton. I think those are super easy to get now, even if you don't know how to build. You can buy fucking rolls of Fuse Clapton wire. And even if you do want to build them, they're super easy to build as well. So I think that's a good build, or a good, coil for like all circumstances, in tanks and drippers, on the go, in a plane, on a car, it doesn't matter. And I think that a good device would be something like an RTA. If I only had to pick one thing, I'd probably take an RTA, not because I like RTAs more than drippers, but just because out of practicality, I'd probably pick something like the Stargate, just because I can use it in every circumstance, no matter what, and I'm still getting a pretty good vape off of it.
Yeah.
All right, so who wants to go next with their everyday vapes?
I got a few that I could comment on.
Okay. Go, Jack.
Oh, okay. So I do have a few juices that I do like to vape all day. And when I think of my all day vapes, this is why taste is totally subjective, because I know that Giz likes to vape on Hazy Custard as his everyday vape, and I enjoy Hazy Custard a lot. I love it. But to me, I like to vape on stuff. To me, like a custard is more of like a heavier flavor profile. And I tend to stray away from, my everyday, all day that I'm taking out on town with me. I tend to stray away from like those heavier ones. So I like to go with is like, some more like light fruit ones or something like that. Like I like blueberry pie from Vape Dudes. It's got a really good throat hit to it. But you have a good mix between a fruit and a more of a buttery crust. So that's one that I love to take with me. Or a Green Blast, which is a good, just, flavorful, fruitful, or a Dort E-Liquid Strawberry Submission, which is, another really good one that I like for balanced. Devices, devices are kind of hard to like really pick on because kind of like, every day changes. I grab something new and just take it with me or whatever, but I would definitely suggest maybe a triple 18650 device. That way your battery life is going to be good. Or like you said, a LiPo device, so like that iPower, which has 5,000 mAh. It's an excellent device to take with you, but I'm kind of ridiculous. I like to take a double 18650 with the TF-V8 and chuck clouds in a patrol car all day. So when I pull it next to you and I roll down my window, it looks like a Cheech and Chong show. And it's just how it is. So, it's always going to be up to that person, but definitely look at battery life and look at something that you're not going to get bored of.
I also like the idea of a LiPo because people don't have to buy a battery charger and they don't have to buy 18650s. That's always like when I'm like recommending things to people, all the things I'm thinking of, I'm like, oh, this and that and this and that. And then I'm like, oh, but then you have to buy batteries and you have to buy a charger and you have to buy wick and you have to buy coils. And so I always like end up kind of like toning down because I know what I like. But for like your new vapor, and this is another question that we got was like, things for starters, but I think we've covered that so much already. But if I'm thinking about somebody who's just beginning, I think of like practicality.
Also, I would suggest grabbing like some unicorn bottles just to throw your stuff in, because I've seen a lot of people take like the glass bottles and they've threw them in their purse if they're girls, or threw them in their car, and all of a sudden they're leaking everywhere or breaking and stuff like that. So definitely take one of them too.
See, Travis, I'd like to add an addendum to what you said. About buying batteries and buying wire and buying chargers and cotton and all that shit. See, I think that's the fun part, because that means you just get more shit.
That's true. That's true. No, I think that for us, people like us, I think of course, I would never recommend like an Eco all-in-one to somebody who's been vaping for 6 years. But you're right. Like I like to go on all the fucking fast text and all that shit in the middle of the night and buy 15 different things and just play around with all of it. That's just
midnight shopping sprees.
I love to play around with new toys. So sleep shopping like a motherfucker, man.
I went on a bender the other night myself, actually.
It's just fun. That's half of the fun for me. Is that I'm a big kid, and so I like to play with new toys. So it's just a good chance to play with all these new toys. Anybody else want to hit this up?
Yeah, I'll hit it up real quick. Why not? I do know that and it's funny, Giz said something about the term ADV. I don't use that term. I use EDC mainly because I've concealed carried in the past, and I am a licensed firearm owner. But when I think of EDC, I also think of not just the juice and the mod and the device or the topper that you're going to use, but I also think of bags too. Like I had it's over here. One thing that I recommend for people is to find something that you're going to be able to feel comfortable traveling with. And this is more for the hobbyist, really, than it is for your beginner vapor, because your beginner vapor is really just vaping for one reason, and that's to quit smoking. But for your hobbyist, you do have your batteries, you do have your coils, you do have 3 or 4 bottles of juice, maybe a mod or 2. And, I have a little sling bag. And it carries everything. Now, I've gone from everything from huge tackle bags that I take to conventions to post bags that are slinging over the shoulder to conventions. But most of the time, it's just a little man purse looking thing. My wife calls it my Merce.
That's a beautiful Merce.
It is, and it's even got the boom pocket in here.
I like your zombie gun.
Yeah, it's a Hogue grip.
That's dope.
It's a Smith & Wesson SD9VE, but I got the zombie Hogue.
That's dope. Yeah, I think that's something that people don't really talk about. I definitely take more than one mod everywhere I go. I take my briefcase everywhere I go though too, because I'm usually like I'm going out to work or whatever. Right. And so I take my briefcase everywhere I go, and I just throw a bunch of mods and batteries and all kinds of shit in it. Usually it's 2/3 vape gear in my briefcase and like 1/3 actual work.
Right.
Indeed,
I'm the
and,
same-
and I have
same
something
way.
like that because I walk with a cane, so one of my hands is always taken up by my cane. Well, if one of my hands is already taken up and I have like a cup of coffee or a tea or something in the other hand, I'm fucked. How am I supposed to carry my shit?
Yep.
Totally.
You
Totally.
know, and I feel bad for the old lady because I'm like, honey, can you carry this in your purse? Carry this in your
I'm
purse.
kind of glad you brought that up, Skeletor, because I've been thinking on something. Because I walk with a cane too, and I was thinking because I never take my mechs out. My mechs have never seen the sunlight ever. And I was thinking if there's a way to like make a button activated where you could have like a little drip tip, you know, and like a little I don't know, maybe like a little cartomizer.
Cane
or
mod.
something. Yeah.
Cane mod.
You know,
Fuck
that way you
yeah.
don't put it on the
Cane
road,
mod.
you know?
Fuck yeah.
That's like
I'm down.
Because he's right. He's
quintuple stack right there, man.
Right?
You could make something beefy out of that shit. There's no doubt about it.
Oh yeah, yeah, man. You'd have. I mean, shit. You'd have to build an 8.0 ohm coil for a quintuple stack. Hey, shit.
Hey,
I'd vape it.
Hold on 1 second, everybody. Tony420 says he carries 3 guns. I like it. He carries 3 guns, his mind, and 2 biceps.
No problem.
Boom.
All right.
That's
Well,
all good until somebody starts
My
shooting at you.
mind, yeah, exactly. My mind is still quick as a whip, but my 2 guns that are right here, they're still quick too, but my getaway sticks don't work so well either. And so, you know, if my getaway sticks are not working and I got somebody that is coming up to me and wants to be all violent and shit, well, I'm going to beat them with my cane.
I think it's great if you're able to conceal carry and you know what you're doing. I think it's smart, but you know, just for safety. I mean, you hear about these shootings and shit all the time. You know what gets me is we have all these mass shootings, and there's so many concealed carry motherfuckers in the world. Like, how come you never hear about people stopping these shootings with guns?
Because most of the places most places where those happen are places where by law you cannot conceal carry, like bars
They have
or schools.
Gun free zone.
Yeah.
I could speak on that. Actually, concealed carry holders actually do stop a lot of these crimes
Yes.
that are out there. It's just that it doesn't make good news
Doesn't
headlines.
make the news. Yeah.
You don't have to hear about it. Yeah.
Doing what I do for a living, I get critical alerts of whenever anything really happens in my area, and you'll be surprised how many times it actually happens. Every once in a while, the news may have like one little story. It says, "Oh, concealed carry holder stops armed guy that was trying to rob him." That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they don't go into depth. There may be a picture, you know, or a small clip of a video of people walking past crime scene tape, and that's it. They don't touch on it compared to what other things do. And as from a police officer's point of view, the vast majority of us love concealed carry holders.
Oh yeah.
100% support it because a lot of times it does make our jobs a lot easier. You know, and the side of it is just, you know, be smart about it.
Yeah.
You know, number one, train with your weapon. Know how to use your weapon if you're going to do
Exactly.
that. And on the same side, comply with whatever we say when we come up and approach you.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your hands where I can see them and let me know as soon as I talk to you. Like, hey, I just want to let you know that I do have a concealed carry permit, or if you're open carry state, and I literally have a firearm on my right hip, but I'm keeping my hands right here where you can see them, and I will not move until you instruct me to do so. You know, because then that lets me know, okay, I know what you have, and I know that you're being honest with me, so I'm not going to have a problem with you. Now, if he asks you to get out of the car and maybe, you know, surrender your weapon during the stop, just do it. Don't think, oh, you're violating my rights. You know what? He doesn't know you. You don't know him, and it just makes the whole situation, the tension, a lot easier, and it's going to make things better.
And you can always go and get your gun back later.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
exactly.
Chris.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Second ring.
Make love, not war.
There we go.
But yeah, and I know we got off on a tangent, but I'll just finish up on my EDC. Usually, it's my E-Fusion with either the Twisted Messes or my Phenotype or something like that. But if I'm using I carry a cuboid around a lot, and I'll take my Glacier because I've got a stainless steel build in there, and I really enjoy my stainless steel builds in that thing. Or I take out the RX200. The tank I use is a TFV8. That's what I use on the regular. I just got this yesterday or the day before, so I'm really, putting it through its the paces with it to see exactly how I like it as an everyday thing. But yeah, it's either a cuboid TFE8, my eFusion DNA 200, or the Glacier. As for the juice, you can't get Fritta anymore, but I know a guy, so I carry that. Or Hesh, you'll like this. No, this isn't Voodoo Vapes. But what's in it's really good. It was that banana stuff that I reviewed the other day, Old Dirty Custard by Vape Storm. I got hooked on this.
Vape Storm makes good shit, man.
I got hooked on these guys, this one and Cinestorm, which is in this, which is actually what I'm vaping right now.
Cinestorm is bomb. Cinestorm is bomb, and Old Dirty Custard is bomb. But I like Cinestorm better, I think. But
yes, I do too. I do too. But that's basically it. If I had a recommendation and the people had to purchase a mod with batteries, I would say Cuboid.
Cuboid's a good mod.
It's
sure.
The Joytech software for this thing is second to none. It's got a nice display. It gives you 2 battery reading. If you set it up, it'll actually give you the percentage of your batteries up in the top. Or no, I'm sorry, the percentages on the RX. I apologize. I will digress and say it gives you the 2 batteries on the bottom, lets you know what your batteries are doing. And if you're into temperature control and you use stainless steel, or if you're looking to get into temperature control, I recommend stainless steel, and I recommend Joytech software for anything stainless steel right now. And they're relatively inexpensive. They're relatively inexpensive.
I dig temperature control occasionally, and I think that right now my favorite temperature control chip is the one that Anakin's using. I honestly, their wattage control is not great, and their battery safety is like madness. And it's 75 watt max. You put it up to 75 watts, you're getting like 3 hits off of it, and then it's like, nope, need to recharge your battery. So I'm not crazy about the wattage features, but their temperature control is amazing. It's just, to me at least, I found it to be just as good as the DNA 200 for temperature control. And so if you're looking for that, I think Anakin's a good, inexpensive choice.
Well, I tell you what, I'm really not impressed with the temperature control on my DNA 200. I enjoy the Joytech software a lot more all the way across the board when it comes to temperature control. I love my DNA 200s, don't get me wrong, I have 2 of them. But I use those when I have an RDA where I want to rock some fucking power to it. If I didn't stage up the Claptons, it's going to need 100, 125 watts. And that is a true 100, 125 watts, unless it's a 3 battery device,
I think that temperature control, we could do a whole show on. I have a lot of shit to say about temperature control, but
me too.
We won't get into it right now. We're kind of running out of time. I do want to talk about one thing. I'm going to let everybody else finish up with, if they have any more recommendations. I want to talk about something that Skeletor has on his lower third. Hands for a million hands. Hands for a billion lives. So I want to let him talk about that for a second. But I want to let anybody else, if they have any suggestions or comments about everyday vapes. Paul's freaking out. Let's let Paul talk for a second.
Not really freaking out. Just like, ooh, Mr. Carter, Mr. Carter. Touching base on Skeletor's, man purse. Ultimately, because I am a mech head, I carry this beast with me for work all day long. Boom. That's my carry right there. Shit. Two Ables, a stacked timekeeper, actually 3 Ables and a stacked timekeeper. But that's I also stop off at vape shops like 3 times a day to pop in and say what's up to my friends and everything like that working, because that's the joy about my job. I can pop in if I need cotton. I can pop in if I need to pick up juice. I can, on the road sales, it happens.
Those things are so awesome. Those fucking
I love it. I mean, even before I had my collection of mechs, man, I would use this thing for my regulated devices, and it's because they all fit in. My everyday carry, though, is actually the Tesla V3. I love this thing, man.
Yeah.
I've had it since February. I have beaten the bag out of this thing. I have almost run it over 3 times. I've dropped it. No dents in the case. Only paint is wearing off, and it's a Cerakote that's wearing off. It's a OKL 15 chip, so it's that of a Hexohm V2. Dual 18650, MAW for days with the right battery and the right builds. It can handle my sub-ohm tanks. It can handle my drippers, whatever I want to throw on top of it. As long as it goes down to a 0.1, you know, we're good to go. And, you know, I love this thing, man. It's fully adjust to taste. You don't have to worry about wattage, messing around with temp settings, anything like that. It feels like a mech, and you're getting the best vape that you can without having to make crazy adjustments. You know, you want it a little warmer, just turn it up. You want it a little cooler, turn it down.
About giving that mech feel in a regulated device. You know, it's you know, it's not entirely regulated, but they fucking know what they're doing. They really do.
100%. I mean,
I love everything they make.
This thing has been. I have yet to have a day where I have not carried this mod since I bought it in February. It is truly my everyday carry, and it's because of its versatility.
And this has a nice one.
I have 2
yeah,
things
he's
to
got the
say
blue.
real quick. Number 1,
Go.
you're a robot again. Number 2,
boy.
I love the thing too, the Tesla 3. But the one thing I will say about it is you have to loosen your atomizer when you put in that battery. Otherwise, it will tear the shit out of your battery wrap.
Your battery wraps, right? That's the only downside to that mod, is because ultimately the 510 pin that's on the top is actually sitting as a direct connection to your battery positive right here.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you don't back that off just a hair, you're going to be trying to force in a battery, and you're denting the top of the battery.
Yeah.
That's the only downside I have to it. But you know, I
just thought I would
takes
point it
all
out.
10 seconds.
I thought I would point it out in case somebody gets one.
Right.
Save them some grief.
Now, as for build wise, you know, I'm an advocate for stainless steel. It is the cleanest wire that is out there. It is the most dense vape that you can get. You can build wide, fat coils, get up to a safe battery range, a safe amp range and ohm range for your batteries. Get a great, clean, dense vape with no ramp up time because of this box with stainless steel. So
And you can rock temperature control. I mean,
exactly.
Stainless works wattage, it works temp control. I definitely am. I'm a big proponent of stainless too. I think
I have to
stainless is the
definitely
future.
jump in with Skeletor on that. The Joytech temp control has it dialed in. Every Joytech one that I've used, the TCR ranges on any of the stainless wires that I use, and I use 3 different companies for stainless: Firewire, Immolation, and oh God, why can't I remember the other one? Kidney Puncher, just straight stainless wire. Fantastic stuff, man. I don't even have to adjust any of the TCR ranges for any of those 3 wires because it fits right into the Joytech TCRs that are pre-built in. So I'm a stainless guy. I made that conversion about 8 months ago, and I will never go back to Kanthal or Nichrome unless I'm building for comps or I'm building, you know, Fuse Claptons, Aliens, Fuse Staggards, and any of those guys, you know, any of the artisanal coils. I strictly stay for single wrap wire is all stainless. And for juice, man, I got to go with, you know, I got to go with Jack on this as well. Something light, you know, because if I'm going to be sitting there vaping a single flavor all day, I don't want to have that heavy lung feeling by the end of the day where I get home, I take a chuck of, you know, I chuck a cloud in my driveway as soon as I'm walking from my car to my door, and I choke on it, and the next thing you know, for the next 3 hours, that nasal drip that I have coming down tastes exactly like if I just took the juice and drank it. But my all day carry recently is, you know, not to market it or anything by any means here. It has been Blue Monchi from Vape Girl Vixens. It's the newest flavor that we dropped before August 8th, and it is a lightly sweetened using a natural sweetener as opposed to a fake sugar. Blueberry lemon cheesecake with blueberry drizzle, and it's got total hints of graham cracker crust just hidden in there, and it's a very light, airy flavor, but a dense taste.
That sounds good as shit.
Yeah, that shit's good.
What is that again? God damn it! My shopping list is getting bigger and bigger.
Blue Monchi by Vape Girl Vixens. VapeGirlVixens.com. Find it in the group. Travis loves this shit. Naki will attest to it. And Travis, I'll make sure you guys get a bottle for review.
I'd love to check it out, and there's no doubt about it. Okay, so Giz, you unmuted yourself. You got something to say?
Oh, I was going to throw this up for a recommendation of cheap, authentic setup for maybe even a new person, and that's the H-Priv, because it holds 2 batteries. It's rock solid. It's kind of ugly, but it's a great mod.
It's got that cool button too.
And the other thing is this Watofo Conqueror tank, which is way under the radar in my opinion.
Yes.
It's easy to build. You can build it any way you want to, from like simple single wrap coils, you know, up to fused Claptons and so forth. And the flavor on this thing is just incredible.
It's the best tank that I have. It might not put off the biggest clouds, but it is absolutely the best flavor. It's got a postless deck. The coils are sitting very close to the barrel, and I'm like Yeti was, or not Yeti, like Giz was saying, you can put any coils from like single wrap Canthal coils, and I have stainless steel fused Claptons from Yeti. That's why I was thinking Yeti in mine, and I think that I think it's the best tank on the market. I honestly do. I think it's a totally great RTA, and nobody knows about it. I fucking love it.
I think I got mine for like $15 on sale as well. So because it kind of got overlooked when lots of stuff was coming out last summer, you can find these cheap.
Yeah, they're super cheap now because, like you said, they got overlooked, and they never sold the units they thought they were going to, and so now it's just like kind of like the bargain bin kind of vape, but it's definitely super high quality.
The other thing about it is that it's very nicely machined.
Yes.
I mean, the machining on this thing is like $80 machining.
And I think it looks just as nice as any of your high cost tanks. Shit like the K-Fun and the Russia and all those things. Mm-hmm. I think the Conqueror really stands on its own. It's beautiful. It's got the 2 windows. The deck is amazing. I think that I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up, Giz, because I think you're right. I think that people should pick it up. It's so cheap, so fucking cheap, and everything that Watofo makes is awesome. I think Wotofo's a great company. All right, so I wanted to touch on one more thing before we stop. So I was talking to Skeletor the other day, and he hooked me up. He didn't hook me up, but he told me about this thing, Hands for a Billion Lives. So I went to their website. I told them, that I help any way I could. Definitely trying to help out. They, you go to their website. They have tons of info, and they're trying to set something up, just to kind of bring awareness to advocacy and to, a billion lives and all that stuff. So why don't you go ahead and tell them what you know about it, Skeletor?
Yeah, basically in a nutshell, what it is for those of you who remember back in the 80s, there was Hands Across America. It was kind of like a quote-unquote peaceful protest. But whereas what we're doing is we are actually advocating for the fact that a billion lives are being saved by vaping. It's not a plug for the movie by any means. It's actually a plug for vaping and to show people per se that to educate them, because what we're doing is on the 22nd, which is this coming Saturday at 2:22, throughout the world now, we are gathering at the same exact time, 2:22 Eastern Pacific, or Eastern time. What time would that be Pacific? 3 hours behind? Or are you 4 hours now? 3 hours. 3 hours. Yeah, 3 hours. For a while. I don't even see when it falls back again. Anyways, so at 2:22 p.m. Eastern time on the 22nd, we're going to all be gathering and advocating to people who are curious and basically just showing the mass public that this is what happens when people quit smoking. They start vaping, they come together, they try to help other people quit smoking and start vaping and save lives, because that's exactly what it's about. Awesome. You know, big pharma and big tobacco hate us because, well, we're taking money out of their pockets, and you know, they're lining the FDA right now, so the FDA makes our life hell. Okay, well, let's have a peaceful protest about this.
And there's not a ton of stuff available if you want to do some kind of like protest, hit the streets, and actually do like advocacy on the streets. There's not a lot of shit available, so this really piqued my interest, because it's getting people out, it's getting people mobilized. I think that's the first step. You know what I mean? Like, you know, even if this isn't the biggest thing, it doesn't get a ton of attention, it's still getting people mobilized. I think that's really important. You know, I would do it here locally, but like me and Josh and like a handful of other people are the only vapors locally, because we live in a pretty, you know, far removed area. But I'm definitely going to be promoting it. I think it's awesome. I think it's a great idea. You know, and it also raises awareness. They might not be directly marketing the movie, but it is raising awareness to that movie. And speaking of that movie, I want to go ahead and Skeletor, why don't you go ahead and drop that the link in chat? I think that you have a wrench, I'm pretty sure.
If not, it's pretty simple. It's handsforabillionlives.com, just as it sounds. It says it right below Skeletor motherfucking Vapes.
Let me hit that up there for a second. So it's handforabillionlives.com. But if you can, go ahead and drop it in the chat. That way people can just click on it if they want. And I want to get Giz to tell us a little bit about the movie, because he knows a lot more about the movie than I do specifically. And I think it's really important. And so I want everybody to get out and watch it if they can. You know what I mean? So Giz, why don't you go ahead and hit us up with a little bit about what you know about the movie?
Well, I went to the North American premiere of A Billion Lives in Milwaukee in July. And what it is it's not really a movie for vapors. It's a movie for smokers and for people that maybe don't smoke. Excuse me, it's an educational tool. It's probably the best thing that we have to explain to people what the hell's going on with the government and pharmaceutical companies and big tobacco, and you know, that's what it's about. It's about the, you know, it's basically about the fact that they're trying to squash vaping because of money. And you know, it's coming out in New York and LA on October 28th. So if you're in either of those two cities, be sure and go see it. And they also have it's going to be released, you know, a lot more widespread soon. But you can also, if you have a vape shop or you know people, if you can sell, you know, get a group together and sell 100 tickets, they have a thing where you can host a showing of it at a movie theater. They have partnered with some movie theaters to be able to have your own sponsored showing, you know, and so a minimum of 100 tickets, but any vape shop out there should be able to you know, take a step forward and get a showing together on a Saturday or something. And
we have something like that going on here. As a matter of fact, Gentleman's Draw juice line, they rented, or they, you know, pulled together in order to get one of the theaters locally here to show it.
But you can go right on their website. They have a form you can fill out. You can go to your, you know, your local B&M and talk to people and say, hey, let's get this done. And, you know, just what I would tell you is when you do go see the movie, take a smoker with you. Yeah. Take a non-smoker with you, because like I said, this movie, we already know most of this stuff. The movie is far from boring, but the target audience that we really want to see this movie is the people that don't know, you know, because obviously vaping is a complex subject. And what I've found is when, you know, I'm out in public and somebody, you know, I try and talk to somebody about vaping, about 5 minutes into the conversation, I just lose them because there's too much that you're laying on them all at once, and you almost sound like a tinfoil hat person or something. And besides, they think you're weird because you have steam coming out your head, and
your head's on fire.
Right. So, you know, this is one of our best opportunities as an educational tool. And big news is that it's moved up in the queue. It may be in the running for best documentary film at the Oscars this year.
Wow, that's
so
amazing.
So if that was to happen, that would do a lot to promote it, and you might be able to see it in movie theaters. But regardless of that, you know, do your part. And I really encourage vape shop owners or you know, people like Hesh that frequents vape shops. You know, Hesh, you should you know, get on top of that and see if you can wrangle enough support to have a viewing. And,
everybody in my area that I know of that is part of anything to do with advocacy actually has been raising money for A Billion Lives and the Right to Be Smoke-Free Association. So all the shops that I have in this area are 100% amazing when it comes to that stuff, and they're trying to get it shown in Cambridge, Massachusetts at the Coolidge Corner Theater, because that's pretty much the only theater in Boston that will take anything indie and just put it up no matter what it is. So
okay, well, be sure to go over to their website, Hash, too, and check it out, because they've actually partnered with some sort of big promotional you know, they actually have the movie theaters online now.
Right.
And so I don't know if that theater is a separate entity from the ones that they're partnered with. I don't know, but in most of the cities, the movie theaters that they've partnered with are in most of the major markets anyway.
Right.
And if you know, you can get the ball rolling over there just by filling out a form. And
I think it's important to take somebody who votes. I mean, that's the most important person you need to take, is take somebody who votes, because the only way that we're ever going to fucking beat this shit is some kind of fucking, not an amendment, but some kind of fucking resolution or something that we're going to have to push through Congress. You know what I mean? Push through your local state governments and shit.
We have a long
HR 2058 is not dead. It is not. This election's fucking everything up.
Yeah.
No. But overcoming people's perceptions of what vaping is our biggest uphill battle. And so anything that we can do to educate people, in my opinion, is the most important thing. Because the opposition is constantly putting out negative propaganda, and the general public sees that shit and they just take it as it's
eat it up.
Yep.
Eat that shit up,
they get that shit in their head, and it's like, well, that ain't what I heard.
Oh my God! If I heard that once, I've heard it a million times. I've heard vaping's bad, and that's what I think.
Well, I had somebody tell me the other day, they're like, "Oh, don't people mostly use that for smoking pot?" I'm like, "No, you know, like, you're misinformed." You know, I had a doctor try to argue with me over saying that it's just as bad as cigarettes. I said, "No, it's not." And he's like, "Oh, well, I went to medical school. How long ago was that?"
And have you done studies on it? I mean, just because you're a fucking doctor, you're all of a sudden you're hella smart.
He was a surgeon, so he had no idea what the hell he was talking about.
Fucking surgeons, they're like mechanics, dude. You know what I mean? They know the ins and outs of medical
school, I went to fucking medical school. That doesn't mean shit.
It don't mean shit. Yeah.
My
Well,
primary care patted me on the back and said, "Keep up the good work. Your lungs are at about 90% capacity." When
Mine
I
too.
only had 75% when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Let me ask you. My grandma's going through heart failure right now. Long time, 60-year smoker. Her doctor told her switch to the electronic cigarette. It will save your
Nice.
life.
Nice.
So,
Right.
and that's a doctor that specializes in the heart. So he knows. He's actually done the research, obviously, to recommend.
Because
saying that.
he's listening to Dr. Fossolinos, who happens to be a cardiac surgeon.
Or the entire fucking UK medical
The rest of the
association.
world, man.
Yeah.
The rest of the fucking world.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap it up. Gives you look like you had one more thing to add to this.
Oh no, I pretty much said my piece, but
Okay.
I would just encourage people to do your part.
Yeah.
If your part is to pay for somebody to go to a freaking movie, just do it. It's not, I think that speaks volumes. Do whatever you can. If you can support, obviously, advocacy groups with your dollars, do that. But, if your deal is maybe you can get out to see this movie, if you do go, please take a smoker with you.
Yeah.
Or take,
What,
it may save
what's
their life.
what's $10 in 2 hours?
Yeah.
Don't just go to see it by yourself or, with your vape buddies. Take somebody with you that doesn't know, and because they'll get something out of it that you won't. And that's what I would encourage.
Here's why we need everybody to go see it. Scott Preston, the guy from the UK, he was in the chat earlier. I think he's probably fallen asleep by now. He was in Spain on vacation. He was vaping outside of a restaurant, outside, you know what I mean, doing the right thing. Guy came up to him smoking and said, "Hey, can you please stop vaping?" I mean, this is the world we're living in. And so
quit smoking, I will.
he told him
That's
that.
what he said.
He's basically like, "Fuck you. You put the cigarette out." He's like, "I'm not complaining about you smoking. Don't complain about me vaping." And so, we're at the crossroads here where we need to educate people. And I think the only way to do that is things like A Billion Lives. I think is an amazing way, because I think media is the number one thing that we learn from the time we're kids watching fucking Disney movies, like learning how to treat people, and like our whole lives, media plays a huge role. And so I think that's a good way to get people interested, is to like take them to an interesting movie that is interesting in and of its own right. You know what I mean? Without the advocacy, it's still an interesting documentary. And I think that it does like two things. You know what I mean? It does advocacy and it entertains. And I think that's the best way to go about it.
One more thing, and what we're doing here, really we're just preaching to the choir, right?
Yeah.
Because the choir's out there, the few people that are watching this, the few people that'll watch the replay, they're all vapors, you know. So I'm reaching out to you guys to say, do your part in educating people beyond this family, because otherwise you're just preaching to the choir, that's it.
No, absolutely. I think you're so right. You're right. Like the few people that are watching us and the few people that are going to watch the replay, they know all this shit already. But if maybe they didn't know about the movie, that's possible, because that doesn't get a lot of attention. And so I think if we can shine any light on it, it's good. And I think that Giz is right. You got to bring people to it. I can't wait till they have it on DVD and they have it streaming, because I think that's when you're going to get a lot of attention on it. Like once it hits Netflix, then we're talking fucking big time. We're getting everybody then.
Right.
So,
but they have to release it in the proper fashion.
Yeah.
If they ended up being documentary winning an Academy Award, heaven forbid, then it would be huge,
Yeah.
So they're going about this in the right way. And I know that people are like, well, why haven't they put it out? Why isn't it on Netflix? Because if they would have put it straight out onto Netflix, it would have gone nowhere.
yeah.
It would have been
People
buried.
would have been like,
It would have gone the way that Biggie Size Me went. It was out for 2 years before it got any traction.
Totally.
Exactly. So
And we
would've
would have
got
already
buried.
lost the war by then.
I have to trust in the fact that Aaron Biebert and his crew know what they're doing. They're filmmakers. They didn't make this to save vaping. They made it to make a movie, but this movie could save vaping.
That's awesome. That's super awesome. All right. So, totally support it. I think everybody should go see it if you get a chance. I'm hoping they bring it to San Francisco. I'm sure they're going to have it in San Francisco soon. That's really close to where I'm at, so I'm going to hit that shit up. I want to thank everybody for joining me. Skeletor had to leave early. I just want to tell you guys, if you want to go check him out on YouTube, it's WTFnetwork.info on YouTube. Go check his shit out. He does live streaming like every day. He has great content. So
well, he's got to go on Skeletor Vapes right now.
Yeah,
because of the bad time
copyright
left.
strike.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, go to Skeletor Vapes on YouTube. Check his shit out. Yeah, today I was watching the Redskins game on his YouTube stream, and I was like, this crazy motherfucker's gonna get me. But then also go check out Gizzard Stew on YouTube. The link is below. You can go check out his channel. He has amazingly funny content, totally original. Not your average, content that you're gonna see from the rest of us, but like really original and funny and just great content. So I definitely recommend it. Anything you want to say? Parting words?
And he's a stand-up guy, too.
He's a great guy. Yeah.
Get off your butts and vape.
Boom. Be excellent to each other.
Correct.
Okay, and then Jack Vapes, you can check him out on youtube.com/Jack Vapes. You can go to his channel. Yeah, I'm sub to him. And yeah, so if I am, you guys can. And you can go below. The link is directly below in the description of the video, and you can go straight to his channel. So any last words there, Jack?
No, just thank you for having me on the show, and everybody stop by vapingswag.com and pick up some shirts. Some shirts over for advocacy that all the profits go to advocacy. I know that me and Giz and Yeti, all three have shirts on there and stuff like that. So helps. Most of us do it just to kind of help support the industry and stuff like that with advocacy. So yeah, there you go. See there.
And they're sick as tits.
They're sick as tits.
Yeah,
that's
sick
awesome.
as tits. So yeah,
fuckers, I gotta get one of those shirts. Holy shit!
Yeah, it's a great way to support, but also get some swagger at the same time. So it's like making a donation, but getting a dope shirt at the same time.
I gotta put our shit on there. We have a Spreadshirt shop. There's Yetis. I want one of those so fucking bad. Oh my god. But yeah, we have shirts. Like people don't know, we have a Spreadshirt shop. People requested it like a year ago, so I put a bunch of designs on there. I have everything set to cost. We don't make 1 cent off of anything. So that's available if anybody wants it. We have really great hats and shit. But I also want to get my stuff on Vaping Swag. I think that's a really good site too. So yeah. All right, Paul, why don't you go ahead and finish this up here? What do you got to say?
Just want to say thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to be on a panel of excellent people like this, all like-minded individuals. It's truly an honor to be a part of this family that we have here and this community. And watch out in the next couple of weeks coming up for that new theme song. It's fire.
Starting this coming up week, it's all the videos are going to have the new theme song. So that's awesome. I mean, the next one might not, but the one after that definitely will. I want to hit up Yeti too before we leave. I was going to say something, but it must have been a lie. So I'm just going to go straight to Yeti.
I was just going to say thank you to those who came out to watch tonight, those who are watching the replay. I appreciate it. That's pretty cool. Thank you very much for having me, Travis. It's a huge honor, as always. Giz, Jack, Paul, man, it's great, man. Hell of a fucking panel. Skeletor too. Sorry, you're not here though.
Damn it, Jeremy.
Yeah, Skilly's an awesome dude, man. YetiWire.com. That's all I can say.
Totally. YetiWire.com, motherfuckers.
Well, now Travis can't fuck it up now.
I can't. No. If I don't do it, I can't fuck it up.
If I may shameless promote myself one more time.
Sure, go ahead.
Check out my live show tomorrow. I'm starting to do live shows on Mondays as well as Fridays, my normal shows. But tomorrow we have 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to pretty much have all the Kiwis from down in New Zealand on the show. So we got Megs, the proclaimed Coil Queen's going to be on the show. We got Moxley's coming on the show, and we might have 1 or 2 other juice manufacturers from New Zealand that's going to be coming on the show as well.
That's great. That's awesome.
Fun times.
All right, Giz.
If I could shamelessly promote myself one more
You
time.
most certainly can.
On Tuesday, I'll be hosting Project Fog, and we're going to have some special guests, including Travis Meeks will be on the show.
I'll be on that.
the fabulous Yeti will be on the show. And as you can see by this toenail, we have a couple other special guests that are coming.
I'll definitely be in the chat for sure.
Daryl's a great guy. If you guys don't know Quest for Vape, go check out his YouTube channel. He's got great content. He's a really cool guy. I've been on his show a couple times. Me and Josh both have been on his show a couple times. Great guy. Totally cool guy.
And the battery mooch.
And Mooch is gonna be
Oh shit! John's going on.
It's gonna be awesome.
No way! I love that
It's gonna be a cool show. So check that out.
I've got a list this long for Moochie.
I don't doubt that one bit.
Couldn't you tell by the thumbnail?
Oh, so awesome.
Sparing 18650.
He's a mooch.
Can't wait.
That's the thing about this show. I wanted to touch on that because Yeti brought up a good point. It's a great panel. The thing about my show that I really enjoy is that I'm not really going. This isn't really like our main content. This is just a chance for me to hang out with Giz and Yeti and Hesh and Jack and all these cool guys who maybe don't have the biggest channels, but like they're my friends. And so that's what this show is all about. It's just hanging out with friends, talking vape, because that's what we like. We're all hobbyists. And so if you enjoy that kind of content, come watch us every Sunday because we have a good panel most nights and shit. And this is a new show, but we're getting there, you know what I mean? And I'm having a lot of fun doing it. I'm really enjoying it. And if you want to watch, bigger names, of course, you can go to the other streams. People have big guests on all the time. But if you want to come hang out with just some regular guys, come to OverDose Vapes on Sunday, because that's kind of what we do, So thank you guys so much for joining us. We're going to see you next week. Keep the coils tight, son.
Keep your wicks wet.
Oh, you guys are fucking going to get it one of these days.
Hey, just tell Josh if he wants problems, banhammer status all day.
I want to get Josh hooked up so that he can stream from his phone or something. And join us, you know what I mean? Because he just moved, so he's still in the transition. But if you could join us through phone, that would be awesome. So,
yeah,
it's
easy. All right. As long as if he's got an Android, Google Hangouts is built on.
Oh,
yep.
All right.
Go Titans.
Go Titans. All right. Much love, everybody.